So this was it, the ending of the incredible, the emotional, the perfect Arlong Park arc. This episode and finale for the Arlong Park arc just gave me like the warmest feeling inside. Seeing the whole village celebrate after 8 years of living under tyranny of Arlong and the torture they've all been through, including Nami, of course, was so heartwarming to see. Seeing the entirety of Kokoyashi village celebrating together over like a 3 night party, basically all smiling together, being able to live worry free for the first time in 8 years was such a nice feeling. Because at the end of the day, it's the people from Kokoyashi village and Goza and of course Nami that have suffered through these 8 years, this absolute torture, them not being able to like live their lives, having to live in constant fear under this tyrannical ruler, and they're finally free to celebrate and all just be together and be happy. And yeah, it's lovely, man. Everything just felt so conclusive in this episode, and everything got a proper resolution. Even the kid from the town of Goza showed up with Nojiko and was saying how happy he is that this is all happening. And Nojiko questioned him, like, don't you have feelings of thinking you wish this happened before your dad and everybody else sort of died? But he says he did think that initially, but now he's just thinking this is a chance for like a fresh start and everything. And I just thought that was great. Seeing Luffy's crew celebrate with them as well was really nice to see. You know, Usopp singing at the top of that tower for 3 nights straight, Sanji dancing with all the women, Luffy eating his heart out at the buffet. It was so heartwarming, dude. And whilst this was all happening, Nami was sat with Belmare telling her how she's going to be a pirate. And Nojiko and Gen show up, and Gen's losing his mind. He's like, there's no way you're going to go be a pirate. What I've learned is Gen looks at Nami and Nojiko basically as like his kids essentially, or like he's taken almost the parent role for them since Belmer's passing. He's obviously loved them since he met them pretty much. You know, Gen has actually been one of the best characters in this arc for sure, and he's been one of the most, you know, the bravest, and you know, he's been fighting for his village the whole time. He might not be the strongest, but the dude has heart and he clearly cares so much about his village, and especially Nami and Nojiko. But Gen is not happy when he hears Nami talking about becoming a pirate, but there's a bit of a flashback where Belmere did the exact same thing when she went off to be a marine. It just goes to show how much Nami really is like her mum, and Nojiko, of course. But my absolute favourite scene in this episode was when Nami was in Belmere's house and she was reminiscing about her past and being with her. Memories of her cooking, memories of one time when her orchard was destroyed, and she told Nami and Nojiko it's okay because if you're nice things will happen to you, good things will happen to you. And, you know, Nami telling Belmere about her dream of navigating the world. And she even says when it comes back to like the present, she's speaking to her. You see a vision of Belmere and Nami speaking to her saying, I'm going to travel the world and live my dreams for me with my friends, which I thought was such an amazing full circle moment for her. She's been trapped up living this nightmare version of her dream for the last 8 years. And now she actually gets to go and navigate the world and live her dream properly for herself. And seeing her do that in front of this vision of Belmere, bro, it made me a bit emotional. Even when she was leaving the house, there was like a little shove that came from inside of her house, and she looked back and nobody was there. It was almost as if Belmere was telling her, like, go do it, you know, go live your dream. Oh man, just thinking about it is beautiful. There were so many amazing contextual moments like that in this episode. Like another one was Nami talking about her tattoo, and when she first got it, her crying to Nojiko about how she hated getting it, and she doesn't even like Arlong. You know, Arlong's not even her friend. Why did she have to get this tattoo? And then the next scene is when Nojiko got her tattoos, and she got them so, you know, Nami didn't feel alone. I thought that was so beautiful. Nojiko obviously cares so much about her sister. So to get that extra context, it feels like everything in this series that serves a purpose. And, you know, just seeing Nojiko do that for her, I thought was incredibly beautiful and such an amazing gesture. And another scene was about the pinwheel on Gen's head, you know, the one that Luffy's been absolutely obsessed with. It feels like every single detail in One Piece serves a purpose, like Gen's pinwheel, for example. The reason for the pinwheel is because when Nami was a baby, every time she would see Gen, she would cry. So in order to try and make her laugh, he got this pinwheel on his head. And it worked, you know, it did make her laugh, and he's been wearing it ever since. And oh man, I just thought that was so beautiful. It's clear how much Gen really cherishes and cares about Nami. Even when Luffy comes up to him and they're discussing, you know, Nami joining him to become a pirate, he says to him, if you ever take away Nami's smile, I will come and kill you. And he's deadly serious. You know, Luffy's like sort of joking about it, saying, you know, that'll never happen, don't worry, sort of thing. And like the look in Gen's face, you can tell he absolutely adores and loves Nami and Nojiko and his entire village. And Gen is the GOAT, man. He's one of the best aspects of this arc to me, for sure. And the closing moments of this episode are brilliant and emotional. You know, it's Nami leaving with Luffy's crew, and she runs past everyone, doesn't say a word, jumps onto the boat, and she lifts her top up, and all everyone's wallets fall out. And you know, she's been known as the brat for the last 8 years, to the villagers, even though obviously they've known what she's been going through. But that's been like her sort of role in this. So I love the fact that when she was leaving, you know, she hasn't changed. She's done the exact same thing she's been doing, you know, been this thief. But, you know, that's what they know her for. And they all love her regardless. And they all know she's been fighting for their village. And although she did that, it was sort of just like a little like goodbye for her, because she did leave 100 million berries. She wasn't just stealing, you know, for no reason, but to make everybody broke. It was just almost like a see you later, I'll be back sort of thing to her village. I just thought was great. And she replaced the Arlong tattoo with a tattoo of a pinwheel and a tangerine, obviously to represent Gen, Nojiko, and Belmere. And the final closing shot was of Belmere's grave next to a tangerine and the pinwheel. And I can't think of a better closing like visual than that. But I mean, it goes without saying, this was my absolute favorite arc so far. I seem to say that every time. Like I said it with the Captain Kuro arc and then the Barate, but this one was really something special. This arc has elevated One Piece so much for me, and the emotional roller coaster that we've gone through in this arc is insane. Like I said, obviously I've reacted to every single episode and given my individual thoughts on all of them, and I can't, all the highs and the low and the lowest lows, you know, Belmere's death and Nami breaking down in front of Luffy and asking for help after all these years, and then seeing the highest highs like this episode. All the characters, you know, Gen, Nojiko, Belmere, Nami's arc, the entire village of Kokoyashi, just everything of this arc has been amazingly written literally to perfection. Oda is an absolute genius. And I really hope we return to this village someday just to see how everyone's doing. And I can't think of the last time I thought about that of an anime. Like, this feels like such a living, breathing world, and everything feels like it actually sort of exists. Like, you know, it all feels like the world is connected, and it feels like when Luffy leaves, well, when Luffy's ship leaves, the town's going to continue and they're going to rebuild, and like in the background sort of thing. And then maybe one day we'll come back and everything will have changed, and you know, they would have moved on from this whole Arlong situation. I don't know, but it just feels like everything, it has so many moving parts, and this world feels so alive, and I love the characters in the world, and just, yeah. But yeah, what else can I say? This arc is perfecto. It's also made me absolutely like fall in love with Nami's character, and I can't wait to see her go and live her dream. Actually, you know, I'm sure there's going to be lots of ups and downs along the way, but now she actually gets the chance to go and live her dream and navigate the world with her friends, like she said, and you know, do these maps and everything. I just think is the best thing ever, getting to follow her doing that now. Just after all of this gives it everything so much more context and adds so much depth to the character. I'm so invested in all these characters, all of Luffy's crew, and I can't wait to see where they go next, man. Because yeah, this I love. I'm absolutely adore this show. It's so amazing. It's made me recontextualize and rethink about anime quite a lot and how I watch it and what I really care about. And a huge part of that is the depth of its characters and the depth of its world as well. But at the end of the day, I guess you could just say, I really liked it. It was good.